Hey, good weekend to you. Welcome to Leading Edge. I'm Jerry Anderson. Good to have you along ahead. We're going to kick off our Toledo City Council candidate profiles. But up first, as you've watched the news over the past several months, what with Afghanistan, or more recently with the Haitian refugees seeking to enter this country down there at Del Rio, have you wondered, as my wife actually did, as we watched the news one night, she looked at me and she goes, what happens to all these people when they come here? And I didn't know for sure, but I was pretty sure I knew somebody who does know. And I welcome in Corine Dehabey, Director of Programs for Us Together, a refugee and immigrant resettlement agency, which works under contract with our U.S. State Department. Mid last month, the governor of Ohio said some 855 Afghan refugees were coming to Ohio. Some, Corine, we know are coming here, our neck of the woods. Do we know how many? Do we know who they are?
Yes, we're going to have 25 Afghani refugees coming to Toledo area.
All right. And they are determined. What determines who comes here?
Usually, of course, our organization and the national organization and the State Department, we're all together working on this.
Your organization, I know, works with I'm reading this, refugees and immigrants. And I think most of us out here just use those terms interchangeably, but technically they're not necessarily the same, are they?
Refugee and immigrants are not the same. Refugees, they come, they are fleeing some kind of issues like, war, persecution of color, religion, ethnicity. But immigrants, they decide to come and live different life here. They come on their own and they probably work in open businesses and they come as an immigrant status. Some of them visitation, some of them permanent status, but the refugee come with the refugee status.
Right. And so a refugee is actively trying to escape something, right?
Yes.
Okay. So a refugee is an immigrant. An immigrant is not necessarily a refugee.
Refugee, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is resettling. There is integration. Let's take those apart because resettling comes first. And when you think about it, folks, resettling, it's pretty much like it sounds. Tell me what's going on there and walk us through that process in terms of the practical application of resettling somebody from a country like, say, Afghanistan.
Yeah. Well, resettling is when you have somebody is moving from different part of the world coming to resettle in the area. So we pick them up from the airport. We provide all the core services for them. We try to find them housing prior to their arrival so we can take them from the airport to the housing. And once we complete the core services, then we start on the integration process. Like, English language, employment, all this kind of work they need to do, cultural orientation, that's the integration, part.
Yeah. Let's get
is from, getting them to resettle here, find them housing, just to do core services, social security cards, all this kind of enroll the kids in school. That's all the resettling process.
Who is paying for that?
For the refugee status, the government gives a stipend for each refugee status, one time only. And out of that stipend, we need to get housing, rent, deposit, cash money, food, household items. But then once this is gone, it's not going to last for a long time because it's a stipend and one time.
Right.
But we try to find them a job quickly, enroll them in the employment program so they can continue and pay on their own.
Somebody else is going to say, Jerry, I heard Corine, this is Corine Dehabey, by the way, Director of Programs, Us Together. I heard her say something about Social Security, getting them signed up for Social Security cards. Now, wait, how does that, are these folks getting Social Security when they get to our country? Clarify that.
Social Security benefit, no, unless they have disability and they can't work, we help them apply for disability. But the Social Security card, in order for you to find a job, you need to have a Social Security number. And that's the difference. We get them in the Social Security office right away so we can get them a card so they can find a job and then they can work.
Okay, so folks, don't think of it as, oh, see, here go the benefits right away. The benefits are not flowing out, Social Security benefits. They have to have the card so that they can go find work. And I want to talk about finding work. How many do? Where do they find work? We're in a country right now, Corine, where employers left and right are saying, can't find workers, can't find workers. Well, here comes some workers. We'll talk about that and much more as we examine the impending arrival. Well, we'll find out from Corine exactly when we can expect some of these folks into our area. This is Leading Edge, and we're back right after this.